Welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore, or as we like to call it, the Tri-F Podcast, where we try not to mess the podcast up. Trevor, why'd you want to talk about Kenneth Copeland? Isn't he old news by now?
Well, I don't know, is he?
I don't know. Last I heard... Yeah, give me your opinion on him. What do you think about the guy?
Well, the connection was, last week we did the thing on... Was it last week we did the thing on Todd White?
Right, Todd White.
So, Kenneth Copeland is kind of where Todd White learned his stuff.
So he's from the same tradition, then?
I wouldn't say same tradition. Todd White teaches a little different than Copeland does, but Copeland was kind of Todd White's mentor, if you will. Okay. One of them. Todd White's main mentor was a different guy, which I've listened to him as well. Dan Moeller. So, but anyways, I don't agree with Kenneth Copeland's teaching on like he'll be talking about like this video is joy unspeakable. It's creepy to me. And then
you talking about the laughing, the guys that are laughing and carrying on.
It's just creepy.
Yeah.
And then what I really have a problem with is his main teaching on riches and having multiple airplanes, multiple watches that could pay my rent,
Yeah.
And, I get it, God is going to reward us, but not where we have to take advantage of people to get there.
Right.
And I see Copeland as taking advantage of millions of people to get there. Instead of just giving his teaching and then God saying, you're doing a good job, here's your reward. Mm-hmm. That's my own personal opinion on it.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I am going to try to do the impossible.
And try not to F it up?
Yes. Did I even do the intro tonight?
Which one? The laughing?
The welcome to Faith, Fiction, and Folklore? Or as we like to call it?
Yes. You did an intro.
Dude, yes. Dieting stinks. I can't even remember what planet I'm on. Anyway,
what are you dieting for?
My vanity.
Or sanity.
Or sanity, yeah. So anyway.
The Bible says don't be vain.
Well, I'll try not to be. Let's put it that way.
Somewhere.
Let's put it that way.
I don't know where it's at.
Okay, so there's a couple things that we need to deal with. All right, first of all, we've got the doctrinal issues of Kenneth Copeland, okay? So we've got to address what his claims are and what the basic ideology is. And so we need to start there. And I'm not exactly sure how to frame this, but I think the best thing to do is I am going to give a brief synopsis, as brief as I can, about the history of Kenneth Copeland, where he comes from and all of that. And then we're going to talk about the doctrine itself. Now, okay. I don't know. Maybe we should flip that. Maybe because the doctrine itself thing, it's like, spoiler, he's wrong. It's a goofy ideology. So that's not a shock to anybody. And it's not really going to take very long to refute. It's really, at the risk of sounding incredibly arrogant, it's really pretty straightforward.
Plus, I sent you that video on another channel taking a deep dive on it.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, Trevor. My windows are uneven, and I am too OCD to let that go.
Hold on, where's it at? I will tell you which one it is if my laptop will load for
There we go. Much prettier. I need help. Anyway, so, okay, let's start off with reading the Bible verse. This is, I guess, one of the standard go-tos for this prosperity gospel thing. So, the idea is, you're, how would you describe the prosperity gospel succinctly? Because, first of all, we need to say that anybody who is a Presbyterian that a Baptist doesn't like seems to be associated with the prosperity gospel. So it's one of those terms that just gets thrown around that doesn't have a whole lot of context. Like people accuse Joyce Meyer of being prosperity gospel. She's not prosperity gospel. I don't care what those people say. No, she is not. And
Actually,
that
I have
is
a
nonsense.
short pulled up with her in it. It's 1 minute.
Yeah, go right ahead. But, this
You
is a
want me to
woman who
send it?
talks about... Yeah, you can send it. This is a woman who talks about forgiveness and getting your crap together. That's not typical prosperity gospel, all right? So she's not one of these prosperity gospel preachers. All right, so you've sent that in the chat. Dad, blame it. I'll have to wait to pull that up. So anyway, yeah, Joyce Meyer's not prosperity gospel. I don't know what she is. She doesn't even know what prosperity gospel is. So it's like it is basically a derogatory term towards Pentecostals. I don't know if it's actually a specific ideology. Now, there are people who believe in the prosperity gospel as it is articulated by these guys that don't like Pentecostals. And that is where Kenneth Copeland comes in. So the basic idea, the cartoonish version of prosperity gospel, you might say, that everybody understands to be such, is you pray, your faith is kind of like this ambiguous superpower, and prayer is, you're not appealing to the Almighty and His sovereign will. It's like an incantation. If you pray with enough faith, you'll eventually get what you want. That's the basic
Move that
idea.
mountain with that mustard seed,
Exactly.
and you'll get paid with jets and watches.
Yeah, and it's like, yes, God sometimes gives us the things that we want. And I would even say that God wants us to have nice things. I'm not going to say that God is wanting you to suffer all the time. I mean, there will be periods of suffering and there will be periods of like good times. Like, there are ebbs and flows. There's a season for everything under the sun. So...
Or in the Bible.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, God wants you to have good things, but you're going to have bad times too, and that's not a reflection on your faith. And having a bunch of super duper extra super faith is not going to fix that. So there's no this concept this concept of believing super duper hard to get what you want. You're not going to get this reference, and nobody's going to get this reference, but I'll get the reference, and I'm vain enough. That's all I care about. So there's this old cartoon with Santa Claus, and the idea
Here
is
comes Santa Claus.
Yeah,
Here comes Santa Claus.
The idea is that if you believe super duper enough, he can, in the scene, it's Santa in the scene of this movie, I'm thinking. It's Santa's belief that keeps the reindeer airborne. And I don't know.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's magic, man.
Uh-huh. Well, that's exactly what this kind of faith is,
Do
magic.
you believe in magic?
Yeah.
From your heart.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't know why. Maybe Santa Claus is being shot with mortar shells or something. I don't know. But his faith starts to waver, or the magic starts to run out, or some bullcrap happens. And there's this stupid scene in this cartoon where Santa's like Chuck pulling on the reins going, I believe! And he's trying to keep the reindeer in the air. So that's the prosperity gospel. You're trying to keep the reindeer from collapsing while you scream, I believe, over and over again. But this is one of the verses that they refer to. That's probably a very uncharitable framing of it. But again, I say that the people who actually believe this version of the prosperity gospel, it's probably not as many people as the accusation, as people say, like Baptists and stuff say. It's not...
Millions and millions.
Well, it's kind of like the word heresy. I mean, everything in the dog is a heresy today. It's just one of those stupid derogatory terms that has lost its meaning because it gets bannered about so much.
Heresy.
But there was a time when it meant something, and Kenneth Copeland is among the people that actually believe in this stuff. So, this is one of the verses they use to defend the position. And Jesus answering saith unto them, have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. And when ye stand praying, forgive if ye have aught against any, that your Father, which is in heaven, may forgive you your trespasses. Now, I am actually pulling this refutation from Mike Winger, and I think it's a pretty good one. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but it's a pretty good point. So basically, according to Mike Winger, what you have to understand is in the Jewish culture, everything was about praying towards the temple. Like, there was a separation between you and God, and you had to pray towards the temple. You had to pray in the direction of the temple. And there was this idea that you needed the temple in order for God to hear your prayers. And I think this is mentioned in Lamentations. Like, there's some allusion to it, but I don't remember exactly what it was. So when Christ is saying all of this, what he's basically saying is that you have direct access to God. And what you're essentially looking at is hyperbole. It's, he's using an extreme example to emphasize the point that we can now pray to God directly. There is no middleman. There is no gatekeeper. There is no temple. There is no curtain between the holiest of holies. Like, you, through Christ, you have direct access to God. That's kind of the context here. So it's not literally saying that you can ask. Jess is like, yeah, you did an intro. Thank you. I was worried because I can't even remember what I'm saying 2 seconds earlier. So, yes. So basically the idea is that you have direct access to God, and that's really it. Obviously, praying whatever you want, praying for whatever, and then expecting to get it, don't exchange vanity for sanity. LOL. That's funny. Thank you. I'll try not to. I am trying to fight through brain fog right now. But anyway, so
brain fog is not a thing.
It is a thing. Oh my gosh.
Even though I have it every day.
Yeah. Okay, so where was I? Let me think. Yeah, so we have direct access to God. Obviously, God not answering your prayer is not a reflection of your faith, because Christ asked for his cup to be removed from him, and God did not answer that prayer. So did Christ not have faith? Obviously not. And this scripture is also the same book where Christ makes that request, Yeah,
I mean, he knew what was going to happen, and he really did not want to go through that. I mean, who would?
Exactly.
It says he was beaten beyond what any man ever was before, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't recognize him.
Yeah, exactly. And he did not want to go. He did not want to go through that. And so you have to balance asking whatever you want with your will, not mine. And this has been the pretty standard Christian understanding of prayer for forever. It's not horribly complicated. And there's also this goofy presupposition for my own take on this. This idea that faith is some kind of superpower is just dumb. Like, faith is persuasion. Like, there's no believing stuff super duper hard. Like, that's not a thing. There's not some, like, Freudian definition. It's like, do you believe versus super duper believe and all this. Like, you're either persuaded of something or you're not. Now, we have doubt and we have things where we, like, wrestle, but faith is a choice to, act as if you believe a certain thing. Not that faith is connected to works. I'm not saying that, but you believe and you form your life as best you can around that belief. That's really it. Like, there's no closing your eyes and willing yourself to believe more or anything like that.
Amen.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, thank you. But because at the end of the day, God is the one who does all the work.
Hey, we're
Hey,
live.
sweet. Yes, we
My
are live.
phone just let me know.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Way to be Johnny on the spot, phone.
What, we've been live for what? 20 minutes?
Yeah, 18 minutes we've been live. Good
Wow.
job, phone. You're a real Johnny on the spot.
A little behind there.
Yeah. So Kenneth Copeland is wrong, and it's a very obvious error. Yeah, the Almighty's going to do what He wants to do. Like prayer is not an enchantment. You can't manipulate God like a demon. He is going, like, God is sovereign, and He is going to do what He wants to do, period. You can make your requests, and He will decide whether He wants to honor that request. He might expect you to make the request because you actually talking to Him is part of having a relationship with Him. But at the end of the day, He's the one that's going to make the decision, and you can't manipulate that. There's no believing super duper hard enough. It's a yes or no, and that's it. So, Trevor, you got any thoughts? Because I'm just rambling now.
I'm a rambling man. Do you want to react to that video I sent you? The Mike. Not that one. Not that one. Wait. Yeah, Mike Stories is the creator. There it is. And it's talking about, he does a deep dive kind of on Kenneth Copeland. It's very interesting.
Well, before we do that, I am going to actually go through a brief history of Kenneth Copeland because I wanted to do something. I wanted to start out, I guess, after wrestling with it back and forth. I think now that we've actually made it, I think we've made a pretty simplistic but thorough case, or like a simplistic but solid case for why his whole ideology is nonsense. But we need to go through this guy's history a little bit because there is another side to this coin. And as much as I disagree with Kenneth Copeland, as much as I don't like his ideology, I don't think people dislike him because of his ideology. I think there is I'll tease it this way, and it's a somewhat uncharitable way to put it, but I think people are...
Jealous?
Yeah. I think they're jealous of his money. And we'll get into that here in a minute. Jessica Lambert says, in my opinion, Joyce Meyer is more like a spiritual motivational speaker. That's fine. You could think, like, I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that, but she's not prosperity gospel. Like, prosperity gospel is like this equivocation with faith and manipulating the Almighty through, like, believing super duper hard enough. Like, Joyce Meyer teaches about a lot of stuff. Now, she might believe things that are prosperity gospel, but that's like almost none of what she talks about.
She freaks me out too.
Well, she preaches mostly about forgiveness and self-discipline, which people don't like to talk about.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's why they
hard
give her crap.
subject.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you need to forgive people when they like royally mess you over. Like most
I
of
don't
her
need
sermons,
to forgive anybody. They need to forgive me.
yeah. It's like, well, they didn't say they're sorry. Like it's that kind of thing. So, and she
Yeah.
really hammers that, and people don't like that she hammers that. And I think that's a lot of why people go after her. I don't consider her a prosperity preacher, and I think using that to describe her is just a derogatory. It's a disparagement. Like that's not what she teaches. Like she may have taught that in one or two sermons in the past or something when she was hanging out with Joel Osteen or something, but that's not like the bulk of her ministry.
Joel Osteen.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sure
We should probably do a video on him too.
We'll have to eventually, but for now, let's go through the brief history of Kenneth Copeland here. So, okay, so here's the story very briefly. No dates or anything, just the bullet points. And I got my source for this is Anomaly Documentaries. So if you want to watch him or them, feel free to do so. It's a YouTube channel, Anomaly Documentaries. So basically, he had a car crash, was spared, believed the Almighty spared him. He was influenced by Kenneth Hagin. He took courses at Oral Roberts University, which is where I graduated.
Pause there.
Yes.
Pause there. Kenneth Hagan is the guy who was laughing
Yes, yeah,
across from Kenneth Copeland
right.
in
So
that very first video.
yeah, so it makes sense for him to be there because he was I guess Kenneth Copeland's mentor, you might say.
Yeah.
So he went to Oral Roberts University, became Oral Roberts' pilot. He began a newsletter, then he began to preach on the radio. This led to a television series. He went to a lot of conventions. They bought then they bought some property, and there was oil and gas on it. I'm sure that helped with their finances quite a bit. Then they started getting criticism, and it grew in the 90s. He was also in some Christian movies, I guess. And then in 2006, he was considered the most successful televangelist. And then, okay, well, first of all, the first major controversy that this guy went through is in 2003, Kenneth Copeland entered into a partnership with Affordable Homes Limited. Now, this was a low-income housing group, and he offered to finance this group, and then he backed out, left the other guy in the hole. And so he got a lot of crud for this. Around the same time, I believe he spent $20 million on his first private jet. So this is when he really started to get into trouble. I think it was like a 1-2 punch. He abandons the low-income housing project thing, and I don't know the details as to why. I just know that he walked away from it. And then very shortly afterwards, he gets the jet. And so people get mad at him, right?
When you're a jet, you're a jet.
Yeah,
Sorry.
so this would have been around 2003. So, he also was accused of sending a threatening letter to the contractor for affordable homes after the contractor confronted him. The contractor said he owed about $45,000. Other companies have claimed that Kenneth Copeland had messed them over. Then there was a notorious incident where a cancer patient was giving him a lot of money, and the cancer patient died. And what was horrible about that situation is, apparently, from what I understand, this person believed that the reason they were going to die, or that the reason they weren't healed, is because they didn't give enough. And I guess that's the important component. Can't believe I missed this.
He actually Kenneth Copeland talks about that in his video, or the video that I shared.
Yeah, I can't believe I missed this. But one of the big things about prosperity gospel is that there is this idea that you have to give in order to receive.
Yeah.
Which is just, again, dumb, because if you're giving to get, that kind of defeats the purpose of giving.
Yeah.
Like,
you're
still being selfish. So, like, what's the point? But anyway.
Yeah. Another person that influenced Kenneth Copeland a lot was Rodney Howard-Browne.
Okay.
I don't know if you know who that is.
No, fill me in. Who is Rodney Howard-Browne?
Have you heard of the Toronto Blessing?
Go for it. Explain to me what that is, because I did not find anything like that in my limited research.
I don't remember the date, but in the 90s, there was a big get-together of all these high-end evangelists like this. And Rodney Howard-Browne was kind of the main guy who did it all. And they called it the Toronto Blessing. And it was these prosperity teachers all getting together at this huge event. And it's called the Toronto Blessing. And anyways, he was also heavily influenced by Rodney Howard-Browne. And I have a video on the Toronto Blessing, which we could do another time, maybe next week or something.
In what way was he influenced? Like, you say the word influenced, is it?
Like, they were, like, real good friends.
Okay, so they're just friends. Okay.
So they were, like, they would cast ideas at each other,
Yeah.
and preach the same thing, basically.
Gotcha. All right, sweet. So there's this connection with Rodney Howard-Browne. Now, so the last thing I remember, so after this cancer patient thing, which was awful because this person gave
It was
and
a
gave
dude.
and gave. It was a dude? Okay.
Yeah.
They gave and gave and gave and gave and gave, and they died. And they still believe they hadn't given enough, which, I mean, that's horrible, right? Like, that's awful.
Yeah.
Like, that's a terrible doctrine that I think would even produce that kind of
He gave-
scenario.
He gave him a Bentley. The vehicle.
He-
A Bentley.
Who gave who
This
what?
cancer patient gave Kenneth Copeland a Bentley car.
Really?
And like a week or so later, he died. He passed away.
Wow. See,
And-
that's terrible.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
But he was one of his highest givers in the church.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's awful. And then the last thing that really doesn't shine very well on his character is somebody got access to his flight logs, and apparently this guy, when he had his jet, or when he uses his jets, he's also taking them to, what was it, Maui, Fiji, Honolulu, and other places. So
all his vacations.
he was taking it on vacations as well as his mission trips. So people were getting upset about that. So that is all bad. I'm not going to try to justify any of that. Well, I don't know how I feel about how much I care about the vacation thing. Everything else is awful.
Well, another controversy is he was on a show, and this is in that video I shared with you as well. He was on a show, I don't remember which show, talking about this jet jet thing.
Yeah.
And he said he didn't want to get on the plane with all those demons.
Oh, yeah, that's an Inside Edition thing. That was taken out of context. But we'll get to that here in a minute. That's part of my bullet point.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's in the video, that little snip of interview.
I heard it. I didn't. It's more wonderful editing by our charming and totally reliable mainstream media. But anyway.
No. Not the questioning with Inside
No,
Edition.
I heard the statement.
Okay.
I knew what he meant. They blew it up and said he was talking about people. He wasn't talking about people, I don't think.
Yeah, no, I know what he meant.
Yeah, yeah. People who were serious, and listening to him knew what he meant, but the media was like, "You said people are demons," because they're middle schoolers. So anyway,
They're mid.
yeah. So now here's where the conversation gets a little dicey, and this is kind of my big complaint with all this, because as much as I don't like Kenneth Copeland's teachings or ideology, I don't think the other side is in the right either. Basically, just to tease out where this is going, everybody sucks in this situation. So here's the deal. So around the time of all this with the cancer patient happens, CBS comes out with a report, and then a senator named Chuck Grassley starts criticizing Copeland, and wants Copeland to submit his financial records. And Copeland was like, no, because he doesn't have to. And, the thing is that this is the same reason why Trump didn't send his financial records, because these turkeys will go in there and look for any single solitary micromanaging little thing to try to throw the person in jail. They did this with Ken Hovind. This is the typical IRS crap. Yeah, this is like that typical IRS crap. Is they want to look for crimes, and whether there's crimes or not, they're going to find a crime. Like when some twit senator starts asking you for your financial records, the translation should be, show me the tax record, I'll show you the crime. You're going to go to jail because they will find something whether you did something or not. Like, they do this to everybody. They were going to do it to Trump, but he held out. And then the second they got a hold of his tax records, what did they do? Why, they sit there and said those Stormy Daniel payments were some sort of political fraud and gave him 34 counts of fraud. This is why people don't send their financial records. You don't give these people that crap because they're going to weaponize it. And so I totally understand why Kenneth Copeland would not give these lying liars who lie his tax records.
Yeah, and then news people on TikToks turned it into, instead of fraud, they turned it into the R word.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they don't care about whether you actually did something wrong. It's weaponized lawfare.
Yeah.
That's all it's been. It was no different back in 2003 than it is now, or 2006 whenever this picked up. Doesn't matter. It's the same crap. So I'm not going to get mad at Kenneth Copeland for refusing to divulge his financial records because these people will do everything under the sun to throw him in jail because he's a Christian and they want to embarrass Christians. That's really it. So I don't blame him. And they don't have the right to do it anyway. Like, period. So I was on his side with the whole financial record thing, and Chuck Grassley was in the wrong. So anyway. So Huckabee defended. Is that Mr. Cody? Oh my goodness, I thought he wasn't going to make it. Hang on a minute. Our windows are all messed up.
Welcome
You're
to Fake Fiction and Folklore.
What's up, guys?
Look at you. I thought we'd never see you again.
Yeah.
Well, he made it. Let's go.
Dinner was great.
Mr. Cody, have you listened to the podcast? Do you know where we're at, or do we need to catch you up?
Restart.
The whole episode. We're restarting the whole episode. No.
Yeah, I've been listening for the last 10 minutes.
Okay.
Go back to the laughing video. You missed
I've been
it.
listening for the last 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So we don't need to see the laughing video again.
Oh, come on. There's more laughing.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes of laughing.
Yeah, skip to the girl in the red hair.
Hey, look, more laughing.
These people all on drugs?
Right there.
Did they fill the room with laughing gas or what?
What?
It's joy unspeakable. He was teaching on joy unspeakable.
Oh,
is
so
she
they're all
doing?
bullshitters?
So just
Sounds
laugh.
like a beat puppy dog.
Oh, it gets worse.
I'm laughing.
Oh, it gets worse.
This is horrible.
Why is this going on? You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of those like communist horror stories where everybody like just keeps clapping and refuses to sit down because the first person to sit down gets shot. Like,
Don't do that.
when Stalin was like, applaud for me. And then everybody just kind of applauded until they all passed out.
Instead of applauding, they're laughing.
Yeah, it's like a horrible, horrible inverse game of musical chairs. So anyway. Nobody wants to quit laughing because they're afraid. And is oxygen deprived.
Yeah, they've been laughing that much.
What are we looking for, Trevor?
She gets louder.
Oh, she's going to get louder. So we're waiting for the redhead to laugh louder. Okay.
Unless you just don't want to.
Huh?
Unless you just don't want to.
I'm ambivalent. It just sounds like these people are dying. But Cody, do you want to keep listening to the laughter? No, I don't
Nope.
either. Okay. All right. Well, that just got awkward. Anyway, so right, I was defending this man. Okay, so yes.
Oh, yes, you were in the
Yeah,
middle of that.
the Senate wanted his financial records, and he was like, "No," and I'm like, I don't blame him. Senate can just shut up. I wouldn't give him my financial records either. They can come and get them. So anyway, and wouldn't you know it, after he refuses to give them these financial records, that's when all these financial stories come out. That's when the media blitz really starts, is when he's like doggedly refusing to...
People started digging.
Yeah, people started digging in the IR. The Fed paid the New York Times and all these people to go after him is what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, do we have proof of that? No, but do we really need it? So anyway.
The proof is in the pudding.
Well, the proof is that they do this to everybody they don't like. It's the same crap over and over again. So Let's see. So the board is well paid. There was a tax exemption on the jet. They were mad about that. Oh, poor Uncle Sam didn't get their taxes for the jet.
When you're a jet, you're a jet.
Yeah. They continued to probe in 2010. So this crap started either like in 2003 or 2006. And it kept going until after 2010. And I'm like, yeah, they really just wanted to throw this guy in jail like they'd done to other televangelists. That's why they were doing that, but he wasn't going to play. So they did the PR campaign. And this is when it got really stupid. So in 2013, there was a measles outbreak, and they blamed the lack of vaccines. Because
Of course.
because Pentecostals don't believe in the vaccines. So it's like, they try to make it sound like it's something unique about him. It's like, no, there are denominations that don't believe in vaccines. That's not uncommon. That's not news. So anyway, and who knows if these guys actually got measles because there was a lack of vaccines or not. I kind of doubt it, but anyway.
Yeah.
And then they got mad at somebody out of that church because they said vitamin D helped. I don't know if it does or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. The Fed was just being mad.
Same arguments that were going around during COVID.
Exactly. In fact, let's fast forward to COVID, shall we? So when COVID rolls around, Kenneth Copeland, and bear in mind, I don't like his doctrine. I don't agree with his doctrine, and I think his doctrine is terrible and produces horrible fruits, and what happened to that cancer patient was egregious, and I have no patience for that. But despite my lack of, I guess, respect for his ideas, when COVID started, he was one of the few people that actually kept his services open. Okay? Every last one of these turkeys that closed their churches because of COVID, they're in the wrong. They should repent of it. It was evil and stupid, and the fact that they did that probably prolonged the bull crap the government was trying to pull 2 years longer than it needed to be. And he was one of the few guys, despite his faults, he was one of the few guys that actually kept his church open.
Yeah.
So, that's a big tick in his favor as far as I'm concerned.
So he's like a libertarian.
Yeah, well, I mean, the anti-vax guys are, of course, not going to go with the COVID stuff, and they shouldn't be expected to. So, and in the end, he was right, and all these people that are complaining about the prosperity gospel and all this crap are wrong. So, nobody's perfect. So, anyway, he did a bunch of stupid stuff, like he did the COVID-19 thing. He tried to blow it away, which was so stupid.
I'm going to blow on you. And
You guys talk about it. I'm actually going to try to find that. That is worth sharing.
Hey, it might have worked, man. You never know.
It did not work. This was back in 2020.
It's all the placebo effect, right?
The placebo took like 2 years to kick in, though.
That's what Joe Dispenza says.
Oh, gosh. I can't even remember his name. Kenneth Copeland blows on COVID.
He's a blower? He's a blower?
Blows on COVID.
This is precious. Anyway.
Is it coming up?
Yep.
Nice.
COVID-19!
COVID-19!
Here we go. Ouch.
Burn!
It's so awkward because nobody knows what else to do. It's like, okay, burn COVID-19, burn. But anyway, as silly as that is, he's one of the only guys that kept his services going. So that's a point in his favor. I don't care if he's flamboyant.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. I think he's like a libertarian con man.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, and then he held a conference against Abbott's orders during the pandemic. Good for him.
What's an Abbott order?
That's Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas. Back when they were like, oh, you can't have anything open because this flu might kill you. The Pentecostal prosperity people were like, yeah, shut up, we're going. And Abbott was like, okay. And you know what? He should have, yeah. I mean, he should have. So there was that. And then he was criticized for living in a mansion and not paying taxes on it. and I'm like, oh boo-hoo. Oh boo-hoo. Poor Uncle Sam didn't get their taxes.
Did he buy the house under his 501c3?
Yeah, basically.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, there's a particular law in Texas that like counts as like a minister's abode or something. So
That's
there's like a
hilarious,
deduction
dude.
for it. And I'm not mad. It doesn't bother me. I'm like, oh, really? So what's worse? Kenneth Copeland getting to keep his money and live in a mansion, or his tax dollars going to pay for tranny Sesame Street in Sudan? So
No doubt.
I'm not sad. Anyway, so yeah, he gets a mansion, doesn't have to pay taxes on it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And then in 2024, he had a ruptured appendix, but he's fine now, I guess. And so that is the abbreviated history of Kenneth Copeland. Oh, and then there was that Inside Edition thing where he bought another jet, and everybody was mad at him for buying the jet, and they tried to say he was like, what'd you say, Trevor? It was like, he was calling people demons.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
there was an interview with him on a different channel, not this channel, where he was asked about why he flies private, and he said to the interviewer that he didn't like getting in a plane with all those demons in that tunnel with all the demons. And so
Makes sense.
yeah, a lot of people
especially
took
if
that
you
out of
believe demons
context.
are germs. So anyway, but
If germs or worms?
germs.
Worms are germs.
Didn't they used to believe that demons were like airborne bacteria?
They can be.
I think that was like an old Jewish belief, but I
think
might
that
be
was-
wrong about that.
That was what they tried to pull with COVID.
That the demons how does that tie to COVID?
was-
I'm sorry.
That there was demons in the air. I mean, I don't,
I
you know. You're like, oh, this spreads through the air like a demon, you know.
even though
Well, there
the
are-
sun
The idea that they
kills
wanted to get
99% of it. Yeah.
There are demons in the air, but they're not COVID-19.
I don't think they're really in the air, man. They're
They're
inside
in-
of us.
They're in the air and under every rock.
You know, when you say that, Cody, I just think there's like this little worm sitting in my brain with like a control panel going, go ahead and eat that extra donut. It'll be fine.
They're not in your
Well,
brain, they're
I
in
mean-
your gut.
Yeah, they're your gut.
So there's a control panel in the gut.
Yeah.
Eat the candy. Eat the candy.
Yeah. I think of it like when I want a cookie,
Uh-huh.
it's like that's not actually me wanting a cookie. It's the parasite in my stomach that wants some sugar, you know. So he's telling my brain that I want a cookie.
I'm sorry. Now I've got like this like Osmosis Joan character of a worm
Right.
in my head.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
oh my gosh. That's funny. Anyway, so all right, that's Kenneth Copeland. I guess we could watch the Inside Edition thing. To be in his defense though, if a reporter had been asking me questions like this, I probably would have made similar faces just to run her off. But we'll give this a whirl.
How are you, sir? We'd just like to ask you about why you don't want to fly commercial. Why have you said that you won't fly commercial? You said that it's like getting into a tube with a bunch of demons. Why do you think that?
No, listen to me just a second. Not the people. The main reason is because of the need. If I flew commercial, I'd have to stop 65% of what I'm doing. That's really the main.
Isn't it true that you want to fly commercial so that you can fly in luxury? How much money?
Okay, come on. I would have been ticked off if somebody asked me that. It's like, so
Well,
what
I
you're
mean-
saying is you're a rich, spoiled prick? That's what she might as well said. It's like, so what you're saying is you're a spoiled piece of trash. Can you say you're trash on camera? I need a sound bite.
Yeah. It sounds like whenever I mean I don't know the video that the reporter's referring to, but if it's I
sent
guess
it
if
to
that
Gary.
was he like kind of in an emotional state whenever they
No,
You got that
he
out of
was
him
on.
whenever
I
he
think,
said that?
I think he was on Jesse Duplantis, and he was explaining why he'd bought this other jet. And he basically said that he can get more places faster and be more efficient if he traveled on a private jet as opposed to commercially. And I don't remember when exactly the whole demon thing came up, but it was like he was mainly referring to the hassle of airport travel, basically. He wasn't like calling people demons or whatever.
I don't know. He could have been. I mean, you could literally see the demon in that guy's eyes.
In his eyes?
So, yeah. Kenneth Copeland?
I don't know if that's a demon or just getting mad at a snarky reporter.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know, man. If somebody asked me questions like that, I wouldn't have been looking too pretty at her. I'd be like, you little sorry such and such.
You would have manifested.
I wouldn't have been Christian.
The killer in me is the killer in you, you know.
The killer in me is the killer in you.
Yeah,
so are we talking that we want to kill a reporter? Like, what are we talking about here?
No. Oh, my God.
Those are song lyrics.
Never mind.
I'm so confused. Don't do that. That's a bad thing. Just make angry faces at them and run them off.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This guy is gnarly looking.
His doctrine is stupid. That's what it boils down to. His doctrine is stupid. It's
He's
prosperity.
not a doctor, though.
His doctrine is dumb, but let's not pretend like everybody else is being noble here.
I just think he's a con man.
He probably is. Like, he probably is. He comes from the tradition of Oral Roberts. We still don't know where the car went. And, you know, it's that same group. So, yeah. I mean, he probably is a con man. But let's not pretend like everybody's wanting his financial records out of the goodness of their hearts. This is basically the Crips and the Bloods fighting over, like, a skyscraper or something.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't care. This is why I get mad at the whole money thing. It's like people are so incensed about his money and stuff. It's like, what, you're mad that the Fed didn't get his tax records? Like the Fed didn't get their taxes? Oh no. Like why should I care about that? And frankly, why should I care that he has a jet and he has a mansion? Why should I be mad that other people have nice things?
You shouldn't.
Yeah, like I don't care. And look,
both parties are at fault here.
Yeah. And, you know, look, the people have the right to give the money however they want. The only criterion is he honest about where the money's going? If he tells his church, guys, I need another plane, and they go, okay, and they give him another plane.
That's on them.
That's on them. That's on them. It's fine. They made that decision. If they believe if they give him money for the plane, God is going to bless them. I don't agree with that. I think that's dumb. But you have the right to believe that. You know, you have the right to believe that, and you have the right to lose your money.
Yep.
So congratulations, welcome to America. But, you know, am I supposed to sit there and get upset that a preacher has a plane?
No.
I guess as much as I disagree with this doctrine, I always get kind of ticked off at people who complain about these guys so much because it's like, it just sounds like jealousy to me. You know, people like in other denominations will whine about how ineffective their denominations are compared to the prosperity gospel people and the word of faith people and all these guys. And I'm like, yeah, the thing about that money is rising tide, you know, raises all ships or whatever. Like, yes, they're blowing money on vacations and stuff, but because they put so much emphasis on money, their ministries are larger and more effective. That's why they got on TBN when you guys didn't. And that's why they're more effective than you guys are. And don't conflate indignation about freaking jets with like starving rocker syndrome. You know, you're being jealous because you don't have as big a ministry. Like, I don't know why these guys are big. Like, maybe it's fraud, maybe it's the Almighty's will. I don't know, but you're sitting there getting mad about it without doing anything and like trying to, you know, create some sort of financial infrastructure yourself isn't going to help anything. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of it's motivated by jealousy. Even though I think their doctrine is stupid. So.
Yeah. I would agree with you.
All right. I guess we'll keep watching this then. And then we'll wrap it up.
For Tyler Perry's Gulfstream jet, for example.
Well, for example, that's really none of your business, but...
Isn't it the business of your donors?
Listen, I paid. You kind of caught me off guard here, okay?
Certainly. Well, if you'd like to come out here, I'd like to give you a chance to catch your breath and have a conversation. We don't want to catch you off guard.
I love Inside Edition. You got to get this now. Hey, you listening to me? My wife thinks Inside Edition is, oh yeah. Now, thank you, Lord. Help me. Let me pray this thing.
Well, let me just ask you a really simple question. A lot of people think it's unbecoming for a preacher to live a life of luxury and to fly around in private jets. What's your response to that?
Very simple. It takes a lot of money to do what we do. We have brought over 100, let's see, the latest figures just came out, 122 million people to the Lord Jesus Christ. Let me give you another example. Last May, I was scheduled for Lagos, Nigeria. That's a long ways. I had a week off, and I was scheduled for Peru. And I prayed about it, and I thought, I'm not missing that dedication in Jerusalem. Without
The eyes are very off-putting. They are very off-putting.
the airplane that we have that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. And Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me. I couldn't.
And I will say, he's like showing every conceivable sign of anxiety imaginable. Like, he is scared to answer the question. Like, very scared. So
He had to go into storyteller mode.
yeah, he did. That is not a pretty face. I did not do that on purpose at all. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you.
Do we want to keep going, or we got the point?
Sure, yeah. Let's see some more demon faces.
Okay.
I told you, man.
Well, my question then, okay, all right, but I want to get to the demons because people are very concerned about that comment.
Give me a chance
Illuminati
here. Inside
confirmed.
Edition. I love you. Al.
Illuminati confirmed.
Synchronicities are off the charts.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that.
And here's what happened. We flew in 21 days, 70 hours, 40,000 miles, touched 5 continents, and preached face to face personally with 125,000 people.
Do you ever use your private jets to go visit your vacation homes, for example?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Again, getting back to the comment, you said that you don't like to fly commercial because you don't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. Do you really believe that human beings are demons?
No, I do not. And don't you ever say I did.
Ooh.
We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers.
Can you explain what you meant by that term then? Just explain, because it's really simple. You said you didn't want to get into a tube with a bunch of demons. What did you mean?
Well, let me ask you.
Do you think that people that fly commercial are demons?
If you give me a chance to talk, sweetheart, I'll explain this to you. But it's a biblical thing.
terrible.
It's a spiritual thing. It doesn't have anything to do with people.
She is terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd have blood be shooting out of my eyes if I had to talk to somebody like that.
People, I love people. Jesus loves people. But people get pushed in alcohol. Do you think that's a good place for a preacher to be and prepare to go preach to a lot of people when somebody in there is dragging some woman down an aisle? It made me so mad to see that on television. I wanted to punch the guy out myself. I can't be doing that while I'm getting ready to preach.
So you just don't like to be around the sinful people or the hurtful people. Is that what you're saying?
Not the people, baby. Not the people.
That was a very poorly worded answer. Like, oh, they're just so sinful. I don't want to be around it. I'm like, yeah, that's not a good way to go. That was not a good. That was not a good response, guy.
back during the days that we couldn't do anything else, we had to travel commercial. When I went to Oral Roberts University, I flew for Oral Roberts. I'm a commercial pilot. So I spent a lot of time in airplanes.
And you have how many planes?
We have the Gulfstream, and we still have our Citation 10. And then we have a little small airplane. But those are the two ones that we use, and we use them all the time. And other people use them too. We have other ministries that use these. In the book of Ephesians, oh God, I love this.
That was a weird cut. We're getting it pretty unedited there for a minute. He must have said something they didn't like.
Wrestle not with people, but with principalities and powers, unseen things, rulers of the darkness of this world. Talking about the devil, he's a very real devil, just the same as Jesus is a very real Lord. And I spent a lot of time on airlines. But the main thing that happened was that wasn't the main reason. The main reason was I could no longer do what I called to do and be on the airlines. Besides that, I need my clothes when I get there.
And you have some fancy clothes. I mean,
do.
for a pastor, you are living a life of luxury.
Yes, I
You've
am.
got great homes. You've got great
Yes,
planes.
I do.
You drive in limos,
I'm a
and
very wealthy man.
you're a very wealthy man.
Yes.
Yeah. And some
And
people
I
would
might-
say
I
that
might
is it appreciate?
May I add something to that? My wealth doesn't come from offerings alone.
Because you sell things, books and DVDs.
Yes. And I have a lot of natural gas on our property. Didn't know that, did you, babe?
Now I do.
Yeah, you do. Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I guess. It's wonderful for you.
Back when
Can you not hear the jealousy? That's what's driving me nuts about this. I'm like, that's wonderful for you. I wish I had natural gas.
Must be nice.
Yeah, it must be nice. I mean, she's just seething with it, and of course, you don't hear about the oil and stuff. I didn't know about that until I did research on this.
Yep.
It's just petty. It's just petty jealousy. Like at the end of the day, we don't know how much of it comes from gas. We don't know how much of it comes from offerings. We don't know how much of it comes from books. We don't know, and he's not required to tell us.
Right.
But it's just the Fed wanting that sweet, sweet tithe offering taxes. They want to tithe their taxes. They want to tax your tithes. That's the one I'm looking for. Watch it. That's what all this is going to end up being. If they ever actually do get a hold of his financial records, they're going to be like, this is just so much money. We gotta get it from him. Of course, if they're taxing him, they're also taxing you. But anyway.
Yep.
So I need that zero comment. Anyway.
I might add another thing too.
Actually, if you guys don't mind, you two
I
talk
mind.
amongst yourselves. I want to look up this actual Jesse Duplantis, the thing that he actually said on Jesse Duplantis' show.
It's on
See
the
what he
other
actually
video
meant.
I sent you.
There's his plane.
which he
we go.
purchased using ministry funds. His fleet is housed at Kenneth Copeland Airport, a private
I'll be right
airstrip
back.
located on his 33-acre ministry compound in Texas. In a now famous Inside Edition interview, Copeland responded to
33
controversy
acres.
regarding what he said about flying
What?
33 acres. That's hilarious.
Is that another Illuminati confirmed?
Yeah.
on commercial
He
airplanes.
knows.
This
He gets it.
dope-filled
He gets it, huh?
He gets it. Oh man.
world and get in a long tube with a bunch of demons.
Do you really believe that?
No, it just cherry picked it. Just cherry picked it again.
Cherry pick.
Cherry picking. You know what? It doesn't matter. It sounds like, my. Since he said the word dope, I'm assuming he means all those sinning sinners that sin when he said demons. That's the dope thing was a clue. So I guess we can run with that. Unless somebody else in the chat can find that video, because I can't find it.
The longer we watch these videos, the more I kind of like Kenneth Copeland.
Well, his doctrine is stupid. I don't know if I would like him. I like everybody else less. So
It's like he's full of demons, but he knows it. And he like he gets it, you know?
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna end this section. With my
What was
quote.
that?
This is my quote that I think sums up this entire episode.
Okay.
Oh, I want that money!
With all that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is the end of part 1. We're gonna move on to part 2. So if you're on the live stream, stay tuned. If you're watching this after the fact, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Later.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Faith, Fiction, and Folklore. If you did, we would love it if you would subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Rumble. We can also be found on X, Instagram, and Facebook. And we are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Thank you again very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.